So we're at the end of week 1 of my side hustle challenge, and in this video I'm going to be sharing exactly how much money I made. So I started off with eBay reselling, and I thought I would start with reselling the items in my home that I no longer needed, see if this was actually worth me investing more time and energy into, if I could make a decent profit in order to warrant me going out to charity shops and flea markets, etc. to buy things to resell, and see if there was much of a market before I really heavily invested in this. So I listed 7 items, and out of those 7 items, one of them was actually instantly rejected, and we can get into the ins and outs of why that was. I think something to do with the way that I had described the item. However, I ended up with 6 items listed. I initially had quite a lot of interest in just a few of those items. One of those items was the double buggy. I had conferred with my husband, he was happy for me to sell it. We hadn't been using it, and then basically during the course of me listing this, he decided that actually he quite fancied keeping the double buggy and taking our youngest children to nursery in it instead of driving. So I mean, this is a great thing for his health, you know, and for the environment. So I had to embrace this, took that listing down. So we go from 7 listings down to 5. And over the course of a week, so I listed these items for 7 days each. I put loads of pictures on, really good descriptions. I did everything I could to optimize those listings. The one thing I didn't do, I didn't really factor in the time of day that the listings would end. So there's a tip for you there. Think about the day and the time that they would end. So I listed them quite late at night, which was a bit of an error. I should have listed them earlier in the day so the listings would end earlier. Now at the moment, it is £0 to list clothing items on eBay because eBay are trying to get back into the reselling market for clothing. They're trying to get people back from Vinted basically. So there is a listing fee for other items, but clothing is free. And quite a lot of the items I listed were clothing, not all of them, but some of those items were clothing. Now, over the course of 7 days, I had 1 query to fend, and that was it really. It was quite low maintenance. So while I was waiting for my eBay auctions to end, I decided to try out one of my other ideas, which was surveys. This is something that I have seen recommended a lot on TikTok, on YouTube. So I signed up for AttaPoll, which was somewhere I'd seen recommended many times. And I'd specifically seen a TikTok post where somebody had said that you could get paid up to £5 for each survey. And I also signed up for Respondent. Now Respondent are more long-winded surveys, a lot of like face-to-face surveys as well, but they paid up to around about like $200 apparently. So it was quite a process in signing up for Respondent. I had to answer a lot of questions, had to fill out a profile, put a picture on, link like my LinkedIn account and all sorts of things. So I went through that whole process and I applied for a couple of surveys on Respondent, but I didn't hear back on those ones, and I haven't had any emails from them with recommendations for any surveys to complete. So I feel like I invested quite a lot of time there. So far I haven't seen any success with Respondent, but it is really early days. And then AttaPoll, I went through and signed up. That was an app on the phone. Signed up for this, and then I didn't have a great initial experience with AttaPoll. So I don't know where this person on TikTok is seeing these £5 surveys, because I am not seeing those at all. And I would say that mostly are between 25p and 50p per survey. Some of them are as little as 1p per survey, and I don't know who is spending any time signing up for a survey which is going to pay them 1p. But for me, like even you take the highest end and you say 50p per survey, and that is like £2 an hour, because most of these surveys take between 10 to 15 minutes. So I mean, that is really like at best £3 an hour. But the reality I found, the first 5 or 6 surveys I tried to complete, I couldn't actually get that far. So I would answer the initial questions, which just basically weed out whether you are the right person or not to answer the survey, and I would be declined for the survey. So I don't know, I started to get a bit of a complex, like, am I too old for these surveys? Are they not looking for, they're clearly not looking for somebody like me. And I don't know what it was about me, but I answered like initial questions and then I was like turfed off the surveys. So actually it took me the first time round an entire hour to answer 2 surveys because I was not accepted for the majority of them. And then you need to basically earn £2.50 in order to check out the money that you earn. And in the first day of trying this, I didn't even get that far. I got to like £1.50 and really was not worth me investing any more time in it. So I went back on today just to see if there were any better surveys on there. And I did see one that was for £1.90. However, when I clicked on it, it disappeared. So I then completed one which I think was for £1.25, which is the best that I have seen. But I will show you in a bit what I see when I look on the app right now, and I can't see anything really for much more than like 50p a survey. So in my opinion, this is not worth the effort, this is not worth the time. So I did manage, because basically I didn't want to have spent that time for absolutely nothing. So I did another couple of surveys in order to get me over that £2.50 threshold, and I made £4.30 on AttaPoll, a whole £4.30. I think I will be deleting the app, because if I have an extra half an hour in which to complete surveys, I think my time is much better spent listening to an audiobook which is going to teach me something new that I can maybe utilise to build a business or make some money, or basically any other side hustle that I think I could try. I just do not think that this kind of money is worth it at all. If you have that time, you are better off spending it on something else, on your education, you know, learning something, watching something, or doing something else which might make you a bit more income. I don't think anyone could enjoy the surveys as well. I found them very monotonous. I would get towards the end of them and I would totally lose steam. I don't know, maybe other people are just ticking random boxes, but I'm trying to do them properly. And you know, I appreciate that companies are using these surveys, the responses from them, to, you know, decide how they're going to develop products and offer services. So I want to complete them properly, and it's just so boring. It's so boring and it's not worth the money. So there we go. But £4.30. So I did make some money this week on surveys. And the other thing was eBay. So my auctions ended and I sold 2 items. So we've gone from an original 7 listings down to 5 to 2 sales. And I made, on those 2 sales, £23.99. I've always basically gifted away things that I no longer want in the house. I am on a couple of local giving away sites, and I go to my local charity shop and I gift things on. So I'm a fan in general of auction sites because I think they have a really important role to play in our lives. However, do I think it is worth my while? Now, I spent quite a lot of time photographing items and listing items. I am pleased to have shifted a couple of items on from my home. However, I do not think it was worth the time. I think there are some items which you know are going to sell. I had one item which was from a brand of clothing, Me&M. I know that they're a really popular brand. The item just didn't fit me at all, and I had purchased it from eBay or Vinted, I can't remember, and it was brand new with a tag. So I knew that was going to sell, and that sold for £23. And I had one other clothing item which sold for 99p. And really, the effort that it took for me to photograph that item, list that item, take it to the post office, it 100% was not worth it. So I think if there are items which are higher ticket items, you know are going to sell and you know they're going to sell well, then it's worth it. The other items that I listed I thought would sell, and I thought they were good items. So I mostly, there's a lot of other items that I have in fact taken to the clothing recycling myself this week, children's items, etc., that I think are absolutely not worth my time in selling. So I've made that decision. They're small items, they're not going to attract a big amount of money, they're not worth it to me. I'm better off spending that time doing something else. So I won't be trying eBay again. I don't like the idea of Vinted. I don't like the idea of listing things that have no end date. Sometimes I go on, I'm looking for something for the kids, and like waterproof trousers, for example, like, you know, they're only going to wear them for a bit of the year. I'm not going to buy brand new ones. I go on Vinted. I can always find that kind of thing, but sometimes the right item has been on there for like 4 months, and that won't put me off buying it. But I think, God, if that was me, I'm going to list something. I don't want it sitting in my house for 4 months waiting for it to sell. I do not have the space to act as like a storage facility. Selling on Vinted is really not for me. I need an end date. I like the idea of things on eBay. If it doesn't sell in a week, like, I'm done with it, it goes to a charity shop. So in the grand total of week 1 of side hustling, I made £28.29. But the important thing to remember here is that I did make some money. This is just 1 week, and it was just trying some things as well. So I think that's the thing, you just got to try. And if you know immediately, like the surveys, like I know immediately that is not for me, I will still keep my login on Respondent, because if I could get more money for a survey and a more in-depth survey, then it might be worth my time spent there. But I think AttaPoll is absolutely not worth it for me. Is it recommended for like children and teenagers? Like they've got hours of free time that they can spend on their phone anyway, so why not make a few quid? But again, I am of the opinion that if you have that time, use it to further your education, learn a skill that will make you more money. I do not consider that this is valuable time spent, and I don't think anyone's going to enjoy it. So AttaPoll I will be removing from my phone, and I won't be doing that anymore. Respondent, I will see if anything comes up, but so far nothing. So, but you know, it hasn't been that long. eBay is a no for me unless there happens to be something in my own home that I'm done with that I am sure will make a decent amount of money. It is not a side hustle for me. That is just a way of removing items from the home that you no longer need. So there we go, that's my roundup from week 1. What am I going to be trying next week? So out of the list of things that I was considering, I've been putting off starting an Etsy shop. But I did actually start months ago. I set up an Etsy shop and I listed nothing, I made nothing, I did nothing with it. And it's basically just a bit of a bigger undertaking to get going, which I think is what has been holding me back. But I can't shake the feeling of being like interested in it and wanting to try it. So basically, I'm going to start an Etsy shop, because often the things that take you a bit longer, are a bit harder to do, tend to be a bit more worth it, right? So this is where my thinking is. I'm also very interested in hiring out clothes, because what I do for a living, I have to have quite a nice wardrobe. You won't believe it from what I'm wearing now. But on Monday, I was in the Houses of Parliament having dinner with 12 MPs, lords, ladies and knights. And I've got to have nice dresses, nice suits, I have nice evening wear, I've got loads of nice like wedding guest dresses and that sort of thing. I probably have much more like of a nicer, higher quality wardrobe than the stuff that I'm wearing on a day-to-day basis. It really should be flipped the other way around, because now mostly I'm working from home, but when I am at work events, I have to have the right kind of wardrobe. But then otherwise, when I'm not using it, it's just sitting there. So I am very interested in hiring out my clothing and seeing if that could make me a decent amount of money. So Etsy though first, I think I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for it and launch an Etsy shop. And what I'm gonna be doing is a print on demand shop. But I'm gonna be making my own designs for things to be printed on like clothing and tote bags is what I'm thinking. And I want to go with a kind of something a bit quirky, witty. I have a few ideas. So that's my next step, is to come up with my designs, get something actually listed on my shop and just see. The whole point of this exercise is to try some things out. Now, I think it could take me longer than a week to get my Etsy shop set up. I'm going to give myself 2 weeks to do so, because it is the half term imminently. So we'll let you know in a couple of weeks' time how's it gone, how I managed to get that Etsy shop set up. And I think it's going to take a little bit more time getting all the designs on and getting that going. So I'm really excited. £28.29. I'm actually going to put that in a separate bank account, guys, and we're going to log how much I can make with this kind of side hustle challenge over the coming months, and I will keep you updated as to how it goes. If you have any other ideas, I had some great comments on my last post. If you have any other ideas of side hustles you think I should try, then please drop me a line and let me know. The one thing that I caveat that I'm not interested in is like affiliate marketing when it comes to selling somebody else's course and that kind of thing. If I'm not 100% invested in it, it's not something that I would I feel like I would benefit from. I don't want to sell it to someone else. I don't want to do anything which feels remotely scammy. I am a lawyer I am a qualified solicitor here in the UK. I have a reputation to uphold and I've got to do everything legit. So anything that I'm doing and I'm recommending is going to be because I've tried it and I've experienced it and I rate it or not. And I'm going to be really honest with you where I think you should spend your time and where you should not be spending your time. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a like. It really does help my channel, and consider subscribing for more content from me. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.